Hi, it's Bob from HeCooksForMe.com. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make some pumpkin bars. To make the bars, we use 3/4 cup of melted butter. It's actually a stick and a half of butter, so I'll cut that and melt it here in a minute. 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of pumpkin, 4 eggs, 2 cups of flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and a teaspoon of cinnamon. The big can of pumpkin is about 29 ounces, and this actually is about 3 cups of pumpkin. So we can make 1.5 batches of this. So we'll actually do another half a batch as well. And I'll show you how to make the frosting once the bars come out of the oven. We're going to bake this in a 10 by 15, it's actually about 10.5 by 15.5 jelly roll pan. So it does have the edges up on the pan to hold the brownies or the bars in it as they bake. So I cut that butter in half. We want to grease and flour our pan. So I just do that with the butter that we're not going to use. I just run it over the pan real quick and get butter all over the pan, and then put a little bit of flour across it, and I'm just going to do this to kind of run it around the pan. So we melted the 3/4 cup of butter, that stick and a half of butter. This has 1 cup of pumpkin in it, 1 cup of sugar already. We're actually doing 2 to mix this all in, so that'll just go all together, and then the eggs go in with this. When I do eggs for baking, I like to break them into a different bowl just to make sure that the eggs are good, and that way if I get any shells or anything in it, I can pull them out. And so you just look and see that your eggs are good on that each time. When I have all that in the bowl together, I'm just going to mix it until it's smooth, and then we'll work on the dry ingredients and then mix them in as well. For the dry ingredients, we're going to mix the 2 cups of flour. This is the cinnamon, and this is our baking soda and baking powder. And you want to just mix this all together so you don't get a clump of any individual item as you're putting it in. So you just want to make sure it's all mixed pretty good in through that flour. And then we'll mix it in and blend it with that pumpkin. Now we have the bowl of the pumpkin mixture and we have the dry ingredients. I'm just going to pour it in slowly while I'm mixing. So we get it all blended in. So you can see that's mostly mixed in now, but anytime you're baking you want to make sure you get all of those ingredients. So you use a spatula and just scrape down the sides to get it back out in, and mix it one more time just to get all of that in there to make sure your measurements are right on. Baking measurements are really important. So now we have all of our pumpkin mixed in together with the dry ingredients, and so we're just going to put it in that pan that we greased and floured, and then we'll spread it around so it's all an even layer. We have all of that now into the jelly roll pan, and I'm just going to spread it out again so that it's all the way through that jelly roll pan, and so it's all pretty much an even layer, so it gets done at the same time. You are going to put this in a 325-degree oven for about 25 minutes. You want to make sure it's set up good at the end when you're taking it out, and then we'll let it sit and cool before we put icing on it. The timer just went off on our pumpkin bars, so I'm going to test them really quick. The best way to test them is just with a toothpick, and you're going to poke it a couple different places and just make sure that toothpick comes out pretty much clean. So yeah, those are looking really good. I'm going to go ahead and pull these out after the 25 minutes. Our pumpkin bars actually came out a couple hours ago. We've let them cool since then. You want to make sure they're really cooled down to room temperature before you put your frosting on them. Otherwise it just melts your frosting. The frosting kind of seeps into them and you won't have your frosting left. And the frosting is a big part of these. We're actually going to do a batch and a half because we're going to do for the full batch that we made plus the half a batch that we could make afterwards. So if you see extra ingredients go in, that's the reason why. But to make one batch, you need 6 tablespoons of butter, and we'll soften this but not melt it. We need 3 ounces of the cream cheese, again softened but not melted. 1 tablespoon, and this you can use milk, cream, or half and half. We chose half and half this time, that's just what we happen to have around, but you can do any of those. You want 1 teaspoon of a vanilla extract, a half a teaspoon of an almond extract, and this is one that not many people have around, so this is probably the one that you're going to have to go out and find. Just in your spice aisle though, and most places do have it. And then we're going to do 3 cups of powdered sugar. We have our butter, our cream cheese, and we soften those just to room temperature. We didn't need to soften them any more than that. We have that half and half, the vanilla and the almond extract together here. So I'm going to mix these together, and then once these are mixed pretty good, we'll start adding in the powdered sugar. We have all those mixed together, and now we're going to start adding our powdered sugar. This is a half cup measuring cup, so we'll add just probably a half cup at a time. So 6 of these to get a full batch of the frosting. And blend it in, we'll add another one, blend it in. Spread your frosting evenly over the entire pan of bars. And then you want to give your frosting a little bit of time too to set up. So it'll actually harden a little bit and it won't smear off or whatever if you are cutting it or when you put it on a plate to serve. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and consider hitting that red subscribe button. It really helps if you can share my videos with friends and family that might be interested, or watch some of the other videos on my channel. I hope this dish, or one of my other featured dishes, finds its way into your kitchen soon.